The Maltese-flagged bulk carrier MVruen is seized off the coast of Somalia. 17 crew members on board. 35 armed pirates are in control. The international community watches. Nobody moves. 3 months pass. Then the pirates make one mistake. And India, which has been silent the entire time, moves with a speed and precision that the pirates never saw coming. What exactly did India do? And how did they pull it off in a single night? Because this isn't just a rescue, it's a masterclass in how to humiliate an enemy without firing a single shot on land. December 14th, 2023, the MVruen set 380 nautical miles east of Socotra, seized and under the control of Somali pirates. 35 pirates had boarded using the Al Ashkan, a fishing boat previously hijacked off the Yemeni coast. One Bulgarian crew member was injured in the assault and handed over to the Indian Navy. The remaining 17, 9 from Myanmar, 7 from Bulgaria, and 1 from Angola, were taken with the ship into Puntland, Somalia, and anchored near the port city of Bosaso. This was the first successful cargo vessel hijacking by Somali pirates since 2017. Spanish, Japanese, and Indian warships tracked the Ruen to the boundary of Somali territorial waters and stopped. International law gave them no choice. Inside that boundary, the ship was beyond reach, and the pirates knew it. What they didn't account for was INS Kolkata, a 7,500-ton guided missile destroyer built for total dominance. While the other navies followed the pack back to port, India's heavy hitter stayed behind. It parked on the doorstep of the Somali coast and waited for the pirates to make their first and final mistake. For 3 months, the Ruen was put to work. Operating off the coast of El, the pirates turned it into a weapon. A bulk carrier of this size could push deep into the Arabian Sea, far beyond the reach of any small attack boat. It could close on larger targets. It could sustain operations for weeks without returning to shore. On March 12, 2024, the Bangladesh-flagged MV Abdullah was hijacked. The Ruen was believed to be the staging point. A high-tech Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft logged every course change the Ruen made. High-altitude drones tracked every movement. Every attack that followed was added to the file. From the moment the Ruen left territorial waters, every hour was borrowed time. Only a few days later, the Ruen crossed back into international waters. While Western powers remained bogged down in the Red Sea, playing a defensive and expensive game of cat and mouse with Houthi drones, India decided to change the script. The US and its allies were bound by a defensive-only mandate, protecting trade but rarely hunting the source. India saw it differently. They didn't just want to protect the next ship, they wanted to dismantle the predator. To New Delhi, the Ruen wasn't a legal headache, it was a target. The INS Kolkata moved immediately, intercepting the vessel approximately 260 nautical miles east of Somalia. A ship-launched drone went up to confirm what was already known: 35 armed pirates on deck. The pirates shot it down. Signal gone. Then they opened fire on the warship itself. That was the last free decision they made. Under international maritime law, India now had full authority to act. And it did. The INS Kolkata responded with disabling fire, precision shots that destroyed the Ruen's steering system and navigational aids. The ship stopped dead in the water. INS Subhadra moved in to close the perimeter. High-altitude drones and spy planes locked positions overhead. 35 pirates. One ship that couldn't move. No route back to Somali waters. The Kolkata held position and called for surrender. The pirates still had weapons. They still had 17 hostages. But from that point on, the clock was running, and it wasn't running in their favor. 10,000 feet above the Arabian Sea, a massive C-17 cargo jet was already airborne. That aircraft had left India hours earlier. 10 hours of flight time. Over 1,400 miles of open ocean stretched beneath it. Inside the fuselage, Lieutenant Commander Harshal Bhatt and his 14-man Marcos team sat in the dark. These were not just ordinary soldiers. The Marcos are India's answer to Britain's SAS-style commandos. Men who survive an 85% fail rate just to get a chance at the mission. They were built for the worst possible environments: combat diving, counterterrorism, and close-quarters boarding of hostile vessels in open water. Lieutenant Commander Bott was leading 14 of these lethal fighters toward a ship held by 35 armed men, outnumbered more than 2 to 1. The C-17's engines filled the fuselage with a constant low roar. Outside, there was nothing but a dark ocean for hundreds of miles. On the Ruen below, the pirates were still waiting for what they believed was the standoff they could outlast. What they didn't know was that the ramp was about to open. The rear ramp of the C-17 dropped open into the night. Cold air flooded the fuselage. One by one, the lieutenant commander and his team stepped off into darkness, 1,500 feet above the Arabian Sea. Behind them, 2 combat rubberized raiding craft followed, rigged to the P-7 heavy drop system. The chutes deployed, the boats hit the water, the commandos surfaced around them, and then there was silence. After 10 straight hours of engine noise, the ocean was completely quiet. The Marcos inflated the raiding craft, oriented on the Ruen's silhouette, and moved toward it under low-light conditions with nothing to give away their position. Through Bott's night vision goggles, the ship glowed green against black water. They reached the hull. They went up, and from that point, the Ruen was cleared section by section, not rushed, not improvised, but worked through with the precision of men who had spent years preparing for exactly this moment. The pirates, erratic and cornered, had no answer for the silence or the speed. 40 hours after the Kolkata first moved in, all 35 Somali pirates surrendered. Not one commando was lost. Not one hostage was harmed. The 17 crew members were evacuated safely. The Kolkata specialist team boarded the Ruen, conducted full seaworthiness checks, and secured 37,800 tons of cargo worth approximately $1 million. Bulgarian President Ruen personally thanked Prime Minister Modi for the rescue of his country's citizens. The operation was closed at sea, but India wasn't finished. These men had fired on an Indian surveillance drone. They had fired on an Indian warship. They had held 17 people at gunpoint for 3 months. They had to pay for their actions. All 35 of them were placed on an Indian destroyer and had set course for Mumbai. The ocean phase was over. What came next took place in a different kind of room, one with a bench, a judge, and 35 men who had nowhere left to go. The Kolkata docked in Mumbai on March 23, 2024. All 35 pirates were transferred to Mumbai police, the first time in over a decade that pirates captured at sea faced trial on Indian shores. The charges fell under India's Maritime Anti-Piracy Act of 2022, legislation passed specifically to enable prosecutions of this kind. Conviction for piracy carried life imprisonment. If the charges involved killing or attempted killing, the sentence was death. In 2026, the 35 men are still in Mumbai waiting for their verdict, and while they await their fate, Somali piracy has re-emerged. A Chinese fishing boat, the Laodong Yu 578, was hijacked on New Year's Day 2025. Then an Iranian dhow, the Al-Wasimi 786, was also seized by Somali pirates and is now being used as a mothership to launch attacks on other ships. The threat had never fully gone away, but any crew considering hijacking in the Indian Ocean now had a clear picture of how it ended. Not on the water, in a courtroom on the other side of the ocean with their name on the charge sheet. Early 2026, India assumed command of Combined Task Force 154, leading 47 nations in maritime security operations across the Gulf. 23 warships permanently deployed. A new warship is inducted every 6 weeks. Most navies win the fight and move on. India won the fight, brought the pirates home, built the legal case, and is still in the room. The Ruen wasn't a one-off, it was a declaration. 14 men, 1 aircraft, 1 warship, 0 casualties. India didn't just win the fight, it built the system to make sure the next one never got that far. The courtroom in Mumbai was the proof. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on global flashpoints and modern naval warfare, hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel, because what's coming is even bigger than this. We'll keep you updated on the front lines. Thanks for watching.